One of my favorite memories was junior year. After Renegade Review, all of the drum majors stay afterwards.
My favorite memory is probably going to Disney World and riding all the rides with my friends.
Well, we were watching The Lion King, and everyone was talking, so it was making the bus a lot hotter because everything was broken. And he said, if y'all don't shut your mouth, I'll end your circle of life.
And we all got to eat all the director's food and stuff in the lounge. And we ate like an entire pizza together and like a bunch of cookies and everything.
One of my favorite memories would be when we were doing sprints at a rehearsal and Justin Howell would start his sprints and he completely mowed down Mr. O'Kelly. I thought that was pretty funny.
One of my favorite memories was walking off the field in St. Louis for the last time and bawling my eyes out, but nobody could actually prove that because I was wearing a mask.
My favorite memory since I've been in band is having the courage to go up during invitationals and speak in front of like 300 people when I wouldn't have been able to do that before.
Probably my favorite memory would have to be playing at the Lincoln Memorial.
My favorite memory would be at the Lincoln Memorial, and the Washington trip my freshman year was probably the best.
My favorite memory was playing in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. my freshman year in front of thousands of people.
My favorite memory would probably be performing at Grand Nationals for the first time, and just all my friends are there in that huge stadium and there's thousands of people watching, and then they all go wild as we finish.
We had a really difficult split that we played in the show, and then the last show that we played, we nailed the split between me and Ryan. It was great.
My freshman year, my ride forgot me for a pre-band rehearsal, so I called the office because I had nothing else to do and I didn't know what to do. And Miss Gorham answered, and it was so freaky because everybody's slightly scared of Miss Gorham, and she was like, "Oh, I know where you live. I'll come get you. It'll just be a few minutes."
Making new friends and getting out and meeting new people.
I'd probably have to say senior night, just because this year was really different for me and it meant a lot more to me. And my color guard team members were there for me, and they just made sure I was really happy in there.
She saved the day, and having that be my freshman year, one of my first experiences, it really showed me that we're truly a family here and we're here for each other. And now that she is retiring this year, it's super sweet to know that she was there for me, this little quiet, timid freshman girl.
On the way back from DC, we're eating at one of the colleges, and I was sitting eating, and Mr. Holland came up and just sat next to me.
My favorite memory is probably just all the friends and experiences I've made.
Was my sophomore year, Mr. Harris sitting up way at the top at the, Lucas Oil Stadium. I think it was our semifinals performance, and I look up and I see him jump out of his chair screaming yes with his hands way over his head when we made a big hit in one of our shows.
Mr. Harris got really mad and he dropped the mic.
I think the time that Mr. Harris got really mad and threw the microphone off the top of the band bleachers and it just shattered all over the ground. It was hilarious.
And it went onto the stands, and then it proceeded to roll off the stands and fall the whole way down.
The first day of comp band sophomore year, I had just moved here, and I showed up wearing a red shirt, not knowing we had to wear white, and then also trying to march, not knowing what a tondu is.
Freshman year during our show, it was the first time Mr. Harris was filming it to send to our writers, and I was on the far left side of the field, and my instrument got caught on the huge T-pole flags, and I had to run all the way to the back of the prop and hide, and that was the first time he filmed the show. It was pretty bad.
One of my favorite memories was when I went to All Region, my senior year, most previous All Region, and it was so great because the whole day I got to spend mostly with Zach Harris.
I'd say one of my favorite memories is this one Saturday rehearsal, and it was pouring rain, and so a bunch of color guard had left their stuff outside whenever we went into the MPC, and so me and a couple people on prop ran outside to grab all the color guard stuff, and then one of my friends, Hannah Robbins, came out with us, and she started running, and she started slipping and just completely flew into the mud, and it got everywhere, and it was funny.
I'm gonna have to say when I first moved here, because I had no friends, and this was when I first met Michael Rosales, and we were in the experimental choreography group for Shaman, and Mr. O'Kelly just kind of threw me in there. and I don't think I've been the same since.
One of my favorite memories in band was getting to go to a water park and then not being able to get in the water.
My favorite memory was probably going on the DC trip when I was a freshman.
It's ironic because we weren't allowed to get in the water and ride the rides.
And I drove through a puddle and water came in my passenger side window to the back seat and splashed Lena Walker straight in the face and left like an outline of her like body shape on like my back seat of my car. It was so funny.
Probably freshman year, and I was doubling with Madison Harper for multiple months, it felt like. And Mr. Harris came up to me and asked me to learn a dot for Faith Leskus because she broke her collarbone at the saxophone party. So I learned that dot in 3 days and then performed it twice.
Junior year at OBA, I was one of the bassoon quartetists. And so I just remember it was so cold that day that we had to go into the nasty bathrooms that smelled horrible there. And we had to wrap up our bassoons in blankets and we swaddled them like they were babies. And I remember standing there with these girls blowing hot air into them. And it was just the worst experience of my life, but it was so funny.
Jillian Cordray calls me and tells me that she needs me to come pick her up.
So the time one of my friends forgot to pick me up for band practice, so I started walking 4 miles to band practice just because I didn't want to miss it.
I am speeding all the way down to her house, and then when I get there, I figured out that she started walking to band.
Probably my last performance in St. Louis and getting to hug my dad after my last performance.
My favorite memory would have to be freshman year when we went to Washington, D.C., and we got to march in front of the Lincoln Memorial, and we got to play the military marches, and that was probably just the greatest moment I've ever had.
I remember I never had my dot sheet. I know, as bad as that sounds, I never had it.
The battery was warming up, and Mr. Garza had just started working there, and he was sitting there staring at us, and he stops for a second and opens his bag and pulls out a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and just starts eating it in front of us, staring us down.
Because we would like go out with the band, and I would like, they would be like, get your dot sheets out, and I'm like, oh.
We had to warm up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and when we were playing through our lot tune, it started pouring down rain and getting over our equipment, and we were like looking around to see if somebody would like cut us off. But we just kind of kept going with it, and it was really good. It was like a really good run of the song, and the sun was just coming up, and it was like something straight out of a music video. It was really cool.
You're in the wrong spots in Asia, and I'll try to like, no, this is the right spot.
I was going to Subway for lunch with Sam Walker and a couple of other friends, and Sam opened the sunroof of my car and the window of the passenger side. He stuck his arms out of the sunroof and the window and just screamed Subway the entire way there.
One of my best friends, Haley, kept being loud, and Adrian woke up our coach, and she told Haley to shut up and go back to sleep, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and that was just, it was fun. We've always had fun bus memories.
Miss Adrian, she would have like a microphone, and she screamed, "Oh my stars!" and everyone jumped, and I started laughing. It was a really fun time.
Brianna was dancing, and she was just doing a little bounce, and then our color guard coach Adrian looked at her and said, "Bri, quit twerking."
Definitely freshman year when we went to San Antonio and we were announced as the last finalist, and it was just overwhelming happiness throughout the entire crowd. It was so great.
And they would be like, Tanae, you're in the wrong spot. And I was like, oh, for real? Try to play it off.
You don't know what you have until it's gone. Seeing my friends leave when they graduate, making new friends, and I'm now the one who's leaving. It's really hard to leave my friends behind. I've made so many good memories with them, and the other directors too. It's hard to leave, hard to let them go.
I've learned that it's okay to put yourself out there and to just meet new people that maybe aren't similar to you and just be their friend.
Don't let what other people think about you affect how you see yourself.
Not to judge any sort of group by the persona that they are perceived as, but to really be able to integrate yourself into a group and go full out for that group.
Definitely having like courage and confidence. I was a very shy, timid little girl all throughout like elementary school, and I've really used to learn my voice and be proud of who I am and my accomplishments.
I learned you always just have to make the best out of every situation. You always have to try to have fun.
A life lesson I've learned in band is time management, because you have to be everywhere 10 minutes early.
Be 10 minutes early. That's always on time.
I think showing up 10 minutes early on time is a big one, and then just working hard to make a goal. It's a lot of work to work together and put together something that big, like a marketing show.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
10 minutes early is on time, but if you really want to apply that to your life, you do 10 minutes early to 10 minutes early. And then you just keep repeating that, and eventually you're an hour, early.
That no matter what you go through in this program, you will always have family.
No matter how much you work, the end result is always worth it.
To really work hard for something I really, really want.
They will never leave you. They will never be dishonest with you. They will always just be upfront with you. And you'll always have someone to go to. And they're there for everything.
You just got to keep working at it, and that you can't quit. You can't quit no matter what, even though it may seem tempting. There are people who want the best for you here, and they don't want you to quit, and those people will help you keep going.
That you really can't fake it. You actually have to practice and work at stuff.
That if you want something, you have to work as hard as you possibly can to get it.
A life lesson I've learned would be to always be true to yourself and don't try to be anybody but who you are, because being your best self is what will get you far in life.
I've learned how to be more patient with others.
Just stick with it and you'll always get better. Nothing is really hard. As long as you just continually work at it, you'll always improve and get good.
I'd say the biggest life lesson that I've learned is that bathrooms are a privilege.
You can be on a team with people you don't maybe particularly agree with, but you can still make it work in the end.
I think a life lesson I've learned would probably be that the friendships you least expect end up being the ones you need the most.
I think that no matter what you're going through, good or bad, there is at least one person that you can talk to in this program. And just knowing that there's always someone there.
I've learned that everybody here wants you to succeed. They're willing to help you in any way possible to just make you the best musician you can be while you're here.
I guess just believe in yourself, because there are going to be times when nobody else does. But you should always be able to rely on yourself for that. And if you want something bad enough, there's nothing you can't do.
I've learned how to be part of something bigger than myself.
I've learned that no matter how many people tell you you can't do something, you're the only person that can prove them wrong and do it for yourself.
I've learned how to work with a lot of people at one time. Spending so much time together with just one group of people, you kind of just learn that it's dysfunctional and takes a lot, but you're a family at the end of the day.
A life lesson I've learned from band is that success isn't defined by your victories, but about all the dirty stuff, the hard work and the failures that bring you to them.